Hello, everybody. Welcome to vlog number 8 for Mass Effect Revolution.
All right.
Oh.
We had quite a session. What do you guys want to talk about?
Yeah, it was an emotional roller coaster for many reasons. We got happy stuff happening, we got sad stuff happening, we've got concerning stuff happening. I was kind of happy staying back because the last 2 sessions have been kind of veto centric, and I was happy seeing discovering more about all of the other characters. And in a way, it made me really happy to see maybe an ancestor, not an ancestor, but a descendant of Charlie. Maybe. I know Quirky's gonna love that.
Yeah, today was definitely... We haven't had a gimmick-centric, relatively gimmick-centric session in a while. So that was one of the reasons why I needed to make sure that Astra was available for this session, because I think this would have been completely different if Gimmick wasn't there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Also, Quentin, it was amazing having you today as Salo.
Yeah, it was great. It was great
Oh, yeah.
coming back. Super fun to see future Salo.
You play that character so well. Salo is one of my personal favorites of all the characters from the first season. I wish that we got to see more of him in season 1, but it's really cool that we get to see a lot of him in this session for season 2.
It's cool to see that he's doing well with his life.
Yeah, I was going to say, I definitely see the confidence that you were talking about, Quentin, at the very beginning, because I do remember looking back on how Salo was in season 1. It's just really cool to see the transformation in season 2, but he's still Salo to the core,
Yeah.
as you could tell. And his arc in general is just really interesting, because Pip brought it up, but Salo did have some major issues with the Geth, and Nilo too, actually, had major issues with the Geth back in season 1, and just seeing him completely different now is just really refreshing to see.
Yeah, to learn that you can experience things and that your perspective can change based on those experiences you have. What was your favorite part of this episode?
Oh, there were so many. I really liked the confrontation with David. Like that whole scene was really charged. I really felt like there was a lot of emotion there. Also, surprise, multiple universes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's something.
When I was trying to figure out the general storyline, the skeleton of the plot for this campaign, and who is going to be involved as the guest characters, obviously I knew that with Salo, if I was able to get Quentin to participate, I knew I had to do something with Geth 2.0, obviously because of the political climate that's going on. And I had a feeling that, at least out of character, most of you guys would be more sympathetic towards the Geth than the rest of the galaxy would be. And especially because of what you guys may have learned from playing the game, you're sort of swayed to sympathize with the Geth more, which is why I needed something to counter that a little bit. And I thought that David Archer would be a great way to counter that, because I felt like David is the kind of person that you also sympathize with, and you kind of understand his relationship with synthetics in his past. So I needed something to make it so that you guys weren't just 100%, oh, you have Geth 2.0, oh, that's perfectly cool. We're on your side, Salo. I needed something to counter that a little bit. And that is the main reason why I introduced David in session 1, because I was trying to set this up in session 8.
For a moment, I thought that maybe there was something bad down there, that it was going to attack us, or that Pete and Stan were in danger when they went down.
I admit, I thought so too.
Surprise, Salo's the bad guy.
Yes.
Well, sorry, Season 1 cast. You're going to have to murder one of your fellows. blam.
When Gimmick was talking about mustaches, Sallow had this hidden mustache underneath his mask that comes out, when all the evil Geth appear.
Yeah.
Sallow's actually grown a mustache in the years that he's been playing around. He just stopped bothering to shave. Just like, I'm too lazy.
It's an evil Sallow from an alternate universe.
Yep.
This one has a mustache. Oh,
Yep.
God. I've seen the original Star Trek, the original series, way too much.
How about the rest of you all? What were the rest of you all's favorite parts of this session?
Oh, all the stuff with David and Nathan was just so good.
Was
All of it. Like, I don't know which. Like, I liked. I really enjoyed Nathan coming clean about him and Freya with David. Like, David is probably the only person in the galaxy he would trust with that information now at this stage. So,
watching David interact with Nathan, and it may sound weird me saying that because I was role playing David, but I still felt like I was a third party watching the characters roleplay with each other, even though I was speaking, but it was more like the character David was speaking through me. It was really cool just to watch their interaction with each other and learning what their history was back in Grissom, because we don't really know a lot, at least at the beginning, and now a lot of the holes were filled in, and now we kind of know what their relationship was like.
there was a lot of sweetness.
Dave, did you think that going in, or did that just kind of organically happen throughout today's session?
That just sort of organically happened. Like, I didn't know what kind of... Like, I knew the relationship was intimate. I just didn't know how intimate it would be. But it's quite obvious that, Nathan and David cared for each other immensely and probably still do. So, that was fun. I liked all the stuff with Sallow. Sallow is like Nathan's kind of dude. Like, I think Nathan and Sallow would like... if they could sit down and drink together, that would be like one of the better nights Nathan's been out on for a while. We'll have to get Sallow his emergency induction port straw, but we'll be fine. We'll figure things out. Oh, and Nathan and Sallow's kids was also adorable.
Yes, I loved that we got to interact with his kids a little bit.
I want to point out that I think it's interesting that Shepard save David and like kill all the guests and such, because it shows that even though David at that point was like part of a computer or a machine, he still saw him like human or like organic, to save him, like to get him out of the machine. And do we know like what happened to his brother and such? Because I think the options were to kill him and leave him be inside the computer, or to get him out, or to let the brother kill him or something like that, right?
Not quite. It was, the options were let his brother essentially continue the project with David, or Shepard would instead take David away.
Oh, okay.
And take him to Grissom Academy and try to actually get him some help. So I think those were the two options.
Oh, okay.
And with the reason why Shepard would allow David to continue with the experiment, because it's supposed to help with the Reaper War effort.
Yeah.
Against the Geth, especially.
if I remember well, it's the only Paragon interrupt that has you punch someone.
Yeah.
It's the only
time being a good guy involves you punching a dude in the face.
Yeah.
Which, it's fair, to be honest.
Yeah, when I was trying to roleplay David, I was thinking about roleplaying a puppy who was aware that he was fragile and would feel guilty that he was fragile and needed to be protected. Because I think the relationship that he had with Nathan is he never wants to be a burden to anyone, but he understands that interesting thing about the relationship is he understands that Nathan is the kind of person who likes to be needed. He kind of likes for people to rely on him, and he likes taking care of people. Why do you think he prepared that whole dinner for everybody? He likes taking care of people, and he kind of needs that in order to find meaning in his life. And I think David gets that. And David is more of he's aware that he needs help, and he's aware that he needs to depend on people in certain times. He's just trying really hard to not be at a point where it's a burden to other people, and he's really trying to be independent as much as possible, because he not only wants to prove it to himself, but he also wants to prove it to Nathan too, that he can take care of himself as well, and that Nathan doesn't have to protect him all the time. Though throughout the session, it seemed like he definitely was leaning on Nathan a lot. However, yeah, what was your favorite part besides the Charlie scene?
I was really happy to see that there, and like all that apart, like not really my favorite part, but something that I was kind of happy hearing about was when you mentioned a nanny. I immediately thought about Quirky's character. Audition character, and then you mentioned Quarry and Nanny, and I was like, oh my god, this is great. I know they're gonna have a lot of fun watching that session. But my favorite scene, I guess, was Gimmick figuring out its new body. It was really fun to see like I said earlier, the first thing that Gimmick does is hugging someone, and I feel like this is very Gimmick-like. And also kind of a little bit of pride that the first time Gimmick ate was something from Charlie's shop.
Yes. His first time, yes.
And it was really tasty.
Yay!
Charlie is actually the one who took Gimmick's food virginity.
Yes. To give some behind the scenes, when you guys were pitching your characters in the first place, and when Astra had auditioned with an AI, when he first auditioned with Gimmick, and I was thinking about how we would work that into the campaign, I started off thinking that we would give Gimmick some sort of physical body from the beginning, but then I thought, no, I kind of want to see Gimmick like start off as an entity outside of the body. So that's when I got the idea of, at least at the beginning of the campaign, start him off as a more of a floating drone instead, and then let Astra play around with Gimmick as a drone, and then later on introduce the concept of the option of getting a body later, which I think worked out really well, because Gimmick was able to experience the limitations of not having a body. You know, he couldn't taste anything, he couldn't hug people, he couldn't dance. And so now you can like appreciate this scene so much more, because Astra, through Gimmick, all of a sudden gets to experience this new discovery that he would not have had if Pip had immediately put him into a physical body back in session 1.
Yeah. It's like character growth. Like I remember when you proposed that, because at first I was also thinking that Gimmick was starting a robot body, and I was like, oh yeah, that would be nice to because the idea of Gimmick was to grow from the surroundings and the other characters that goes around with, and I think it worked out well.
Yeah.
And also now, being inside the body opens a lot of new questions and things that Gimmick could abort and think about.
Like identity. There was a lot of question about identity today, and what body you feel is, you know, is it your body that makes your identity, or is it not your body? And some people would say no, like who I am as a person has nothing to do with my body. But then, you know, you also have to understand there are other people, for example, people who are transitioning, who do feel like some of their comfort level does have something physical about their body as well.
Yeah.
So I don't think either attitude is wrong. It's just whoever it's dependent on the person.
Yeah.
It's dependent on the person,
I was
like
about
what they
to-
feel identity is.
I was
Go
about
ahead.
to mention it myself that the whole discussion about identity really kind of made me think of myself in a way, because I never felt like I was truly myself before I started transitioning. So it's really dependent on the person.
Right. And I think when Pip asked Gimmick the question about is your identity, does your body like have a factor in your identity? I don't think she was implying one was right and one was wrong.
yeah.
She was just asking Gimmick, for you personally, what do you think? What do you feel is important to you personally? So
And Gimmick before, when he was trying to convince and talk to others, sometimes he would make the argument that it doesn't matter. It's just what you feel and what you think. But when it came the time for Gimmick to get its own body, then it started to raise questions and think maybe in a different way that it was trying to convince others before. Like I think in the stairs they were having a conversation like, what do you think when you see me with David? And it would change if I told you that I'm an AI. And that's what Gimmick was thinking. But then when it came the time to like, what happened if I get in there and I don't feel like it's my own and things like that? Yeah, it's like when it came the time for Gimmick to have to deal with that, it wasn't something easy for him for it.
yeah, I loved your interactions with David. I loved it when Gimmick was talking to David, especially when he was, revealing himself, coming out of the closet to David, essentially. And I'm looking forward to seeing Gimmick's path forward from here. Especially, I think Astra's going to have a great time from a role playing perspective, because I wanted there to be a flexibility, giving him the option of sometimes going into a mission in his drone body or going to the mission in his other platform body, especially if you're talking about customizing it later and tweaking it afterwards. So I'd be very curious to see how his journey about identity develops over time, and which body does he think is his true self,
And also Gimmick was like, oh, maybe I could ask Dia about that, but it was referring like Dia also has this it has Dia, and also has what was the
Logan.
name? Logan, yeah.
Logan.
So yeah, how does she deal with it, and how to help Gimmick understand how it should feel and think. Like maybe knowing someone else's experience and perspective would help him understand. So yeah, maybe we could have some interesting interaction now with Dia. Yeah, but yeah, I will have to change my Halloween costume now.
There you go.
Because it wasn't a sorry. It's fine.
Yeah, I had going into this, I had thoughts about. It's funny that we talked about it, but I had thoughts about Salo is not like a black and white bad guy, but is someone who was willing to do some pretty sketchy things to achieve like the goal that he has. And I thought about like, because I knew like the secret was going to be revealed. I was pretty sure we weren't going to get through this without Geth 2.0 becoming a thing, because plot. And I knew David Archer was going to be a thing. And so I thought about, honestly, like, Salo was a villain, and Salo was like, once everyone's gone, like silencing David so that he couldn't tell anyone about the Geth. I thought about like, is that would Sallow in all of these years have become so jaded by his cause that he would be willing to do that kind of thing? And I came to the decision that no, like Sallow is still Sallow.
Well, the Geth are his kids.
Yeah.
The Geth are his children. So a lot of people would do anything to protect their children from harm.
But that's something I had to think about. That was something that I was wrestling with pretty much right up until this morning, was like, is that, like, how would this affect Sallow? Like, what is the impact of this on his character? Because it's a big thing.
That is big.
But I don't think he would compromise his belief of, like, everyone is a person and all life is sacred.
That is very interesting. See, this is stuff I didn't know about. So,
I mean, now Sallow's got a nephew-niece thing that loves him, because, you know, so Sallow wins.
It's a found family.
Yep. It's the weird family, but it is a very close family.
I think that you have been the first one, because every other player from previous sessions, from previous campaigns, when they meet another player, they are like cooperative and try to be nice to each other and learn from each other. And you would have been the first one to be like an evil character, trying to push their agenda before the new heroes' interests. So yeah, but we are grateful that you didn't go the evil path.
Yeah, no, I definitely had thoughts about, like, what if their reactions to this is negative? Like, they're one of the only hopes for the galaxy. Would I sabotage the entire mission so that they wouldn't blab about this? Like, would I just leave Arun to be doomed and my sister to be doomed to protect the Geth? So your reactions have been like, we're gonna tell everybody. And
I mean, there's nothing stopping us from actually telling everybody once we get this done. So,
well, he's going to file a court, like you signed
the
yeah,
broken the NDA.
Yeah. But by that point, the damage is already done.
But I trust Sallow trusts the group after everything that's happened. I think there's some trust there that it's just gonna have to be like, can't turn into someone who uses the fear of something bad happening to justify doing horrible things.
Plus, you can always talk to your daughters later and be like, Nathan was super cool, and you know, there's that too.
It was brief, but one of my favorite moments in the session was the conversation with Meridi and Sallow.
Yeah, that was super sweet.
I thought it was very sweet, and I thought that it gave us a little bit of a peek to what their dynamics is as a couple and their relationship is with each other as a couple. I don't know. I enjoyed that a lot.
Yeah. If there's any more sweet moments in this, I'd have to like start taking insulin for diabetes. Too many sweet moments.
The conversation with his sister too was something.
Yeah, that was kind of cute.
Yeah.
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 Pretty much every interaction with Nilu is like, if you go back to the first season, like.
I mean, I have to question how you can describe Neela as pretty when she's wearing a mask. Like, that's not something, you know. You have this urge to think that she's pretty just because she's on the screen.
No, I think part of it, honestly, is also a lot of the aesthetics is also the suit itself, honestly. Because her yellow suit is very unique. Most Quarians wear darker tones, you know, the blackish, dark blue, you know, tone suits. So having something that's a little bit prominently more brighter, I thought, to me, makes her unique, and for me, makes her pretty.
I mean, that is one reason Tally stands out, because she wears that purpley white sort of stuff. And when Sallow was mentioning like he's wearing like a suit style exosuit, all I could think was Tally from the Citadel DLC, where she wears like the black and the white tux sort of style thing. That's all I could think in my head, because that's what, you know, I imagined. That's accurate about.
I was pleasantly surprised by how much I was able to utilize Stan in this session, because all the parallels with the superhero stuff, the superhero hideout stuff in Sallow's house, and then having Stan. I did not think going into this, Stan is totally going to have a crush on Gimmick when Gimmick goes into his new body. That was not something that I had pre-planned. It just happened in the moment, and I thought, this would make sense. Like, Gimmick's in a Asari body. Stan, was trying to be nice by giving Gimmick some cake to taste for the very first time, because I think somehow Stan understood that. And then I thought, maybe Stan actually is kind of crushing on this Asari body a little bit. So yeah, I just kind of went with that, and I don't know, it's just so entertaining to me.
I thought that Stan had a thing for Pip before, because when they went to have a conversation, that he seemed to be interested in her, but I don't know.
Pip said that she found Stan charming.
Yeah.
But I don't think Stan ever made any indication necessarily that he was interested in Pip in that way, necessarily. But maybe.
Oh yeah, maybe.
Well, one thing that has to be pointed out as well is that Meridy helped design this body, so it's definitely got some curves. Like, she'd be like, it has to look properly. It has to look like an actual Asari. It has to look good. So
yeah, she was the expert consultant on that matter, for sure.
Right.
and
it doesn't look anything. It doesn't look anything like Meridy, because that would be weird.
Yeah, that would be really weird.
That would be really weird.
She was like super adamant about that.
Yep.
Can't look anything like me.
But I'd like what Sallow was just like, I like seeing you naked though, because that's totally how he designed it. Totally. Mm-hmm. Don't ask any questions. Sallow, you charmer.
I like Pip platonic love towards Sallow too, because
yeah.
She's full on like senpai notice me mode is what I was getting from this.
I don't think that Pip was like interested in becoming a house wrecker, a home wrecker. Like, that's not like, it's more of she idolizes Sallow and just looks up to him. So I don't think it's necessarily like she wants to be the new Mrs. Vera. She just idolizes him.
Senpai, notice me, please. Is essentially all it is.
Yeah.
I thought it was adorable the whole time, where Pip was just fangirling 100% of the time where Sallow was talking. It was adorable.
Yes.
I think it would have been really interesting to see how Zajari would have reacted to all this, considering Zajari and Nate would have been two people who would have survived the Reaper Wars and blah, 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 blah.
Well, that's what replays are for. So when you replay the game...
Yep. when we reload that save, try again,
Bring Zajuri and Koalin.
Oh,
we'll see
God.
how this scenario changes.
That's the bad ending.
Just Koalin alone, I think, would have probably ended up with this being entirely different. Koalin's just a car.
Yeah, had you brought Koalin with you, I had every intention in having him very pro... No, we're going to burn all of these Geth to the ground. And that would have been really interesting.
And how were we going to... If something happened that destroyed all the Geth... There was any other option for us to go there and trying to connect the relay?
Yeah, the campaign would have just been really short.
Oh,
sorry guys, there's no way else.
I like when you say that. I think it was the same when Nathan. I asked if he stayed at the planet with her mom, with his mom. What would have happened, and you said, yeah, he would be dead. But yeah, there was.
Nathan realizes how lucky he is every morning when he wakes up.
Mm-hmm.
Would have been a really tense ultimatum there for sure. Of like, you try to burn this place to the ground,
right?
But like, you're screwed if you do. Like, there's no you're dooming countless lives, a whole system. You'll never know what happened in Trebia.
That is one way that I think you might have been able to appeal to Koalin.
Oh yeah.
There are ways to argue to not do that, but it definitely would have been a very heated scene.
I mean, like, I already kind of did that with
my character sheet, Koalin. Like, Sallow's not a joke.
I mean, the same thing with Nathan and Koalin on Tachanka. Like, Nathan had to talk Koalin down from dragging Stan back to Binary Helix the second that they met. So, Koalin is reasonable. Maybe just...
She's reasonable.
maybe it just would have taken a bit more convincing, considering.
Right.
Because Koalin's a survivor as well. Like, that's the thing.
He is.
You know.
I love Koalin's character a lot. But, you know, his ideals and his code does make things very complicated sometimes. So
Yeah, I wonder how his arc is going to end up in the end, because yeah, he still didn't receive any calls from the Justica Guild, and
yeah.
And how?
And I'm sure that's not going to affect him at all.
Oh yeah, we have a day to prepare for the jump. So do we have enough time to go to the binary helix like we said we were going to?
Probably not, because I think traveling to binary helix, just traveling there itself would take about a little more than half a day. So going there and coming back would not be enough time.
Yeah.
So you pretty much have to stay here for 24 hours.
Yeah, it's also a good thing we were out when we did, because if not, this ion storm would have passed us by. You know, traveling 88 light years per hour and all that.
88, yes.
I typed a lot of questions for Salo before the session, and I was like, okay, let's see, because some of them only made sense to be asked if there was like some if Gimmick liked in the end how Salo think and talked, and I think like one of those questions that really needed Salo to be think the same way at least as Gimmick does, or for Gimmick to like him, was the last one that Gimmick did. So if he thought that there was any possibilities or any chances for AIs to reproduce between them. And yeah, there were a couple more, but I guess I can save them for us to ask any other characters later. But yeah, I like the interactions we have. So yeah, it was a great session. If there was anything you were expecting to happen that didn't happen.
Who are you asking that? Me or
in general,
or Quentin?
More to you, that you were planning things.
I am curious about that, Quentin. Like, what were your expectations going into this?
Oh yeah.
Just out of curiosity.
Yeah, I definitely, because I remember you described to me there was one character that you knew would be really against this, and I didn't remember which character that was. So I was unsure if they were among the group that that there may have been some sort of altercation, more so than there were. I certainly was not expecting the surprise, I'm building the Geth again, to go over as smoothly as it did. I was certainly expecting a little bit more of a kerfuffle over that.
I mean, you did also kind of drop the fact that you're from a different galaxy and that there are different galaxies and universes out there. So, you know, you kind of overloaded us with sense. You kind of gave us that sensory overload and just sort of dropped things on us. You know, it worked, I guess. You know,
I just know myself that Vito is not necessarily believing the whole thing, even though there have been explanations, just multiple universes that doesn't.
I mean,
quite make sense.
Is it fair to say that Nathan just doesn't care about the whole universe galaxy thing and believes that, you know, if the Geth go wild again, it's fine, we can just kill them. So, you know, like, it's a case of, you know, he's like, all right, I'm sure Salo isn't stupid enough to not consider the fact that, you know, there could be a situation where the Geth go rogue and like try to kill everybody. So, you know, maybe that's some trust he has misplaced, but at the end of the day, Nathan's like, we could probably kill all of them if we need to. So
also, one thing I was trying to say before my computer decided to break was that I'm just glad that I've been able to see indirect Fleet and Flotilla jokes. Just it's great. It was great.
Although Nathan has coined the fact that everybody who's a Fleet and Flotilla fanatic is now a fleeter. Yeah. She's a fleeter.
Like the trashies.
Yeah. Like, she's a fleeter.
I love Salo's and Broto's interference thing at the end. That was hilarious.
That was pretty good.
I love that.
Nathan's just like, she's a fleer, bro. I feel sorry for you.
So here's a question that I intended on having Pip ask Salo in game, but it never. I completely forgot to ask it. So I'm going to ask it now, and we can actually make it canon that would have been his answer. We can say that maybe Pip asked this off camera, but so Salo knows that this whole trying to figure out what's happening in Trebia is all going through Shias Lazine, and you know that Shias Lazine, because of stuff from Markara in season 1, works directly for the Shadow Broker.
Yep.
So Pip would have asked Salo, how much does Salo trust the Shadow Broker in all this?
And just so do I know who the Shadow Broker is? Am I aware?
You do not know who the Shadow Broker's identity is at all.
Is in this canon, is it Liara? Like,
you have no idea. I'm not going to confirm nor deny who the Shadow Broker is.
Out of character, have they been doing good things? Like, has the Shadow Broker, to my knowledge, been like doing good things?
I think the Shadow Broker has always been a grayish character, so I can't say that. I think the Shadow Broker has been doing good things, but I think that a lot of people have been doing some grayer things under the Shadow Broker's name.
Yeah.
In his name. So I would not be able to answer that question by saying yes, because, well, yeah, but there's a but. So,
grains of salt.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that Salo would feel lukewarm about the whole issue. Like, I mean, obviously that they're trying to help here, and obviously the Shadow Broker has done things before in the interest of, business. Everyone needs to survive for business to exist. So like, I can appreciate their assistance, but at the same time, it's like definitely just wary about like who is profiting from things, and like keeping it in mind. Like Salo's biggest concern is, of course, like the Geth 2.0 and all of that, and like making sure that this doesn't jeopardize any of that.
Right. And according to Shias, like the Shadow Broker guarantees that it is not going to interfere that in any case. However, you are welcome to benefit from it because of the fact that it's, again, thanks to your Geth that the galaxy is being saved.
Yeah.
So you have the invitation to take advantage, which means revealing it to the world, but you don't have to.
Yeah.
The Shadow Broker doesn't care what you do with the Geth 2.0 or the Geth 2.0's information of their existence.
Yeah, and I think Salo is grateful for the opportunity, but also skeptical at the same time.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's good. Good to know.
How likely are we to meet the Shadow Broker?
Oh, that's a great question that I unfortunately cannot answer.
Oh, shit.
Unfortunately, I cannot answer that.
Parker's just like,
I unfortunately, I know the answer to that question, but I cannot answer it.
Oh, the smile on your face.
I cannot answer
He signed an NDA.
I signed an NDA. I'm not at liberty to respond to that
There's actually
question.
a sniper outside of Hark's window right now, and he mentions that he's going to kill him.
It's like a little dot.
Yeah, this little red dot appears. Hark,
Very
what's that
good
dot on your
question,
temple for?
Yeah.
Because chances are we already meet the Shadow Broker and we don't know. We are going to meet and we don't know. Or maybe we are going to meet and know that it's the Shadow Broker. There are a lot of possibilities, and yeah.
Quallen is actually the Shadow Broker. Quallen's been the Shadow Broker this whole time.
All
Definitely.
I will say is, among those three things that you just said, more than one of them could be correct.
Oh, okay.
More than one of them could be correct.
Oh,
Okay.
damn.
Maybe.
Oh damn.
Maybe.
We're going to be suspicious of everyone we meet now, dude.
Akara is Shadow Broker.
Arkara Shadow Broker confirmed.
Akara is Shadow Broker. Qualin's a Shadow Broker. Everyone's a Shadow Broker.
Yes.
Nathan is the Shadow Broker.
Stan is the Shadow Broker.
Stan is the Shadow Broker. Actually, that would be cool, wouldn't it?
Totally. Stan is actually Shadow Broker.
It's like that character from Star Wars that everyone hates. How it's called?
Jar Jar
Jar Jar Binks.
Yeah, it turned out to be the seal.
Jar Jar Binks turns out to be the Shadow Broker.
Oh man. Oh Jesus. I'll ask a question until see if you remember. Now that Nathan's big quote-unquote secret has been revealed with him and Freya as to why they broke up out of character, how do all of you feel about it? And you can answer this too, Hark, because it's not it's a very heavy topic. So
Yes.
Yeah. It's definitely heavy. I knew, like, out of character, I knew something was up due to discussions with Mikey, but I wasn't entirely sure, like, to what degree. Stuff was happening with Freya, and it was a heavy moment, a very sad scene. And the worst part is that it's me out of character who knows and not Vito, so it's gonna be hard not to want to have Vito hug Nathan forever. Yeah. I'm getting the feeling like it's not a subject that's being spoken of a whole lot. Like, domestic violence is, of course, mentioned and shown in TV shows and movies, but never really a woman being the perpetrator. So,
and to just refresh everyone's memories, Freya is 5'3", Nathan is 6'8", and could easily snap her in half. So,
well,
there's that too.
Yeah, it's often rare, and if it's ever shown in a movie or a series, or it's often ridiculed. It's often It's often used as a joke plot point, which should not be the case at all. It's a very serious subject. It's something that happens a whole lot more than we think, and
right.
If not, I have a whole lot more respect for Nathan's character. Yeah.
And in this case, it was like physical violence, but it maybe doesn't need to be like. There are other kinds of violence that affect people really deeply, and I didn't expect it that to be the reason. I thought it was the drugs and Nathan not being able to deal with it. So it was like now like. It gives an extra perspective of me on the character of Nathan that I appreciate. I'm not happy that it's like that, but it makes him a bit deeper.
Yeah, I'm glad that was an aspect of Nathan's story, because, as Kiwi said, it's traditionally when you hear about domestic violence, domestic abuse, it is traditionally a man abusing a woman, and it happens, though. The reverse does happen, and unfortunately when it does, it's hard. It can be harder for society to take it seriously, like make it as serious as when a man abuses a woman. So I thought that was a really interesting reveal. My question is, why did Nathan decide to reveal that to David?
Well, David
Was
is the
there-
only person left who, well, except for maybe Jack, but Jack did, he didn't keep an awful lot of tabs on Jack, and, maybe there was a bit of communication there afterwards, but it was usually just, a celebratory text or, a quick phone call about congratulatory stuff. It was never really a really deep conversation because, Jack is very difficult to approach, I tend to think, especially
Yeah.
for someone like Nathan. But at the same time, if Jack was to approach Nathan about it, he would respect her history and be more than willing to talk with her about it because he feels like she would take it seriously. And he knows that David understands what it's like to have someone close to you hurt you, especially when it's someone who you loved for a long time unconditionally in a lot of the cases. So in a way, David understands Nathan's situation more than anybody else because of his history with his brother.
Jack is an interesting character because, at least the way I've interpreted her, she strikes me as being, if anyone was going to be a bit of a feminist, I would think Jack can be a bit of a feminist, and therefore I'm sure that she's the kind of person, if she's in a relationship with someone, guy or girl, she would not let them push her around. She would not tolerate that. And first of all, if anyone tried to abuse her that way, she would definitely defend herself in kind. So I'm not sure. Honestly, I don't know if Jack is capable of possibly, even if it was not intentional. I'm questioning whether or not Jack herself would be capable of abusing someone.
Yeah.
If she didn't keep herself under control. Because
we
know that she can be a loose cannon and very hot-headed. So,
well, from what we've seen, especially if you romanced her in Mass Effect 2 and 3 and have the Citadel DLC, Jack is hyper protective of Shepard. She loves him to no end, and I think that if she she obviously loved her students as well. She loves her students probably as much as anybody else. And I think that even though Nathan is he's a graduate, he didn't start off his education in Grissom, but I think that she'd still, want to protect her little baby, I guess, even though, he's not a little baby anymore. He never really was when he was at Grissom. But I think that she would understand that and, want him to do the right thing for himself. I think she understands that too.
I think that what happens with the violence, the physical violence, and the other forms of violence is that maybe some people have trouble trying to express their feelings or to interact with other people, and sometimes they may hurt others, people they love, and they're close to them, like physically or emotionally, and it's something that they can't control. They just do it because this is how they act, and for them it's okay, but it's wrong. It's like something that you have to treat and think about it. And with Shaq, she sees power like a weapon, something that you can use.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that she would interacting with people that are close to her. I don't think that she would maybe having a discussion use power against that other people just because she can make her point across or make the other things think like her. So yeah, I don't think that she would abuse others when they have the disagreements. I think that she even fight with Shepard in a couple of occasions, and I think she never punched him or something like that. She
does punch him once.
Well, she punched him, but she didn't use biotics, and if she really wanted to hurt him, then she
would have used biotics.
Yeah, it's like
And on top of that, if you actually romance Jack in 2 and then in 3 when you meet her, she punches you and then she kisses you.
Yeah.
So,
Well, yeah, it's
that's the type of Yeah, I think that's the type of relationship that they have. It was me, I would not be. I'm not into that.
Yeah.
I would have an issue if a girlfriend or a boyfriend punched me and then tried to kiss me. That would just not work with me.
Yeah.
Not fly.
But one thing that I will also say is that Hark, you portrayed Freya perfectly. Like, you knew from the
Thank
start
you.
that there was this, obvious rift there. Freya. There was a lot of times where Freya was was obviously talking down to Nathan, but Nathan was trying to be the bigger person, or constantly trying to drag him down to her level.
Freya was clearly planting herself as the dominant one. Clearly.
Yeah.
Yes, and that's sort of how I was trying to portray her without even knowing. I don't think I knew about this part of the backstory, so that was kind of cool.
Well, you knew that there was rumors of violence, I think is what I put it down.
Yes, I
But
did
there
know
wasn't
that.
actual-
I did know that.
But Quentin hasn't responded yet, so let's see what he has to say.
Yeah, I think that was a really well done emotional scene, and I haven't. I'm bad and super busy with college, so I haven't actually seen the season yet.
Yeah.
But I really got a lot from that scene. I definitely got a lot of the history of those characters through that, and it was definitely like, my own parents had some like emotional domestic abuse going on, and so like I definitely saw some parallels there, definitely of like that kind of feeling.
I thought, going back to my original question, I thought that the reason why Nathan told David about his experience with Freya is because of David's experience with domestic abuse, because he was abused by his brother.
Yep.
Now, granted, his brother, did it for good reason, but it was still abuse. So
Yeah, now that I think about it, he also was used as a tool, like Gimmick mentioned before, and then his brother didn't care for him as much as the cause of the experiment, the thing that he wanted to research.
The mission, yeah.
So yeah, in a sense that Gimmick could relate with that too if he knew about it.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask, because we are going to leave for a while, I guess, to go through the mass rally and such. And I for a while I thought that Gimmick would like to make a gift to Pip, because yeah, she is like I don't know if a mother figure, but she's more like a bigger sister or something like that, trying to push Gimmick to do things that maybe it wouldn't do if there wasn't someone behind Gimmick trying to incentivize it. So yeah, what I had in mind is that maybe Gimmick would have contacted Shields and asked if he could make a pair of glasses for her, because Gimmick
yes,
knows
I'm
that,
sure he can do that. Yes.
Yeah, Gimmick knows that she likes glowing and colorful things, and that the council space on the other planets may be drab for her. So maybe having colorful glasses would improve that and make her feel more comfortable around others and such. So yeah, I don't know if we should RP that later, or
yeah, we'll have time to RP that next session.
Okay.
Well, I guess we're gonna call the Back to the Future session.
That'll be the entirety of the. You'll just have to have like different like Back to the Future references as each session episode's name.
Yeah.
Yes.
I
think that would be perfect. Go ahead.
I really like that that's where it went, because like honestly, I did not come up with like a prescriptive like this is how you're gonna get to the place. I was just kind of waiting to see what happened and like how interactions went, to just like it's how I GM major decisions in my games, is to just let the players do things, and I'm like, okay, this is what it's gonna happen. And so I really liked that it turned into like a Back to the Future thing. That's really good.
88 light years per hour, fam.
Yes.
Where we're going, we don't need roads.
Exactly. I'm waiting for that. I just picture Salo in in a dock outfit.
Pulling down the big goggles, snapping and flying.
Big goggles.
You weren't going to do it that way before Quentin mentioned it, right, Hack? You were going to do it another way, like the procedure we had to go through?
I had no idea what the procedure was going to be. I did not have any plans. I just kind of threw Quentin up there and see what he would say or do.
Just
And it
throw
just worked.
science at the wall and hope it sticks, basically.
And he just played, it played perfectly. Yes.
And I think Kiwi mentioned Back to the Future, and then Quentin was like, yeah, it's like that. I think
Ion Storm and stuff and things we have to do.
Yes. It's happening at this one moment. You only have this one chance.
I like that things like that happen only when you're in a cooperative storytelling environment, and
Yes.
it's one of the things why I like RP games a lot.
Salo, I have to tell you about the future. I have to tell you about the future. I feel like Vito just has to say that just to get it out of his system.
Yeah.
I have to tell you about
He definitely does. He definitely do. I honestly have been rewatching the Indiana Jones movies just to grab a few quotes
Yes.
to pepper in the campaign in the coming sessions because I need to.
But I'm back, Doc. I'm back from the future.
It's your kids' gimmick. Something has to be done about your kids. All right. So I guess what we're gonna do for the Halloween session, I'm gonna give experience bonus XP to whoever can make the most Back to the Future references that make sense in context. That makes total sense in context. However many people can make it.
I'm going to have to watch the movies now.
I don't know
I'm gonna
why,
have
but
to
I all of a
rewatch the
sudden
movie.
have this image in my head of Salo's sister being really into Back to the Future all of a sudden.
She's been to a lot of movies. She can like other movies other than Fleet Flotilla. It's just her favorite one.
I also thought it was funny how like Nathan was like, "Oh, what kind of movies?" and she just like, "Can we focus on this different thing, please?"
Now I'm curious.
Yeah, I'm too. I'm like, did she actually do like, I don't know, X-rated movies or something? Because
If you look at the epilogue of the first season, you'll see something along those lines.
Which also
Oh.
kind of paints a portrait of Vito, since he said that he loves her movies. So, you know.
Yes, exactly.
Nathan has never seen any of her movies because Freya wouldn't let him.
It wasn't on purpose. Like, she thought she was filming one thing, but she discovered later it was actually something else.
Yeah, she thought it was a Fleet and Flutella like sequel or spin-off or something, and it was sort of.
Yeah.
It's a
It
triple
was.
X version of Fleet and Flotilla.
It was right. It was a B. It was supposed to be a B. What is that called? The magazine. Fornax.
Yeah.
It was supposed to be a B level Fornax a Fornax like spoof on Fleet and Flotilla. And she didn't realize it was a Fornax spoof.
So wait, did she like get to a certain point and they're like, okay, now you have to do this really awkward scene, and she just backed out because, like,
Yeah,
I think Meridi specifically was the one who saved her.
right. Meridi was the one with all of lawyers and everything. So she never actually, nothing was published. Nothing was actually published. But it was just an experience during her early days when she was trying to become a movie, trying to go into the movies and acting. That's always been a very sore spot for her.
I
So
don't know
anytime somebody
why, but I have this like sleazy Batarian smoking a cigar, overweight with grease stains, being like, "Honey, if you want to get into the movie business, you gotta do it this way."
Yeah. I'm sure Salo was ticked, not at her, but like ticked at the directors and everything.
Oh yeah.
I was just trying to reinvent myself.
I'm just like, just please don't let Nathan fall. Just don't let the ships continue for Nathan, because we went through the math and there's already like 11 different ships for Nathan already in this universe. So
Yep.
can we keep it below 15? Like, please, if that's
Well,
possible.
we can still ship Nathan with other characters.
Hmm.
There was. Wait, did they kiss or something? Because there was romantic.
You mean today in the session?
No, I don't think
No.
I
so.
don't
Oh,
David and
you're
Nathan,
asking
no.
if did David and Nathan ever? I guess Astra's asking how far did David and Nathan go? If you want to reveal that.
I believe it was just Nathan said in one of the previous sessions when he was talking with
That it was
Cesare
just
that there was a guy on Grissom Academy and it was mostly kissing and hand holding. There was because I don't think David would have been comfortable enough to go any further than that. Maybe.
Yeah.
You know, maybe now he might be, but back then probably not. So.
Yeah.
You know, kissing, hand holding. General. 17-year-old love.
Hashtag Navid was confirmed,
Navid.
at least for the past. At least in the past.
Well, again, maybe during the Under the Stars dance in the next session, Nathan and David might be hanging out, and who knows? Who knows what'll happen?
Kiss the boy.
And then I can see Stan like playing Johnny Be Good up on the stage.
That's adorable.
That would be
Would
great.
he grant for the singing?
That maybe he might have to.
No, we'll get hard to do all the singing. It'll be fine.
Oh.
Yeah, Quentin had no idea who or what Stan was the whole thing, so this it's fun. It's fun, kinda. Just imagining a really odd Krogan that just grunts, and for some reason everyone understands what he's saying.
Some people are special. It's fine.
Yep.
Well, Otto talks like how was it called?
An
An Elcor.
Yeah, like an Elcor. So yeah, there are. That was the reason why I was thinking. Well, what was of the Asari robot that didn't work? Because maybe there is an Asari that behaves differently than other Asaris. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
I mean,
maybe
Gimmick is just a really eccentric, curious Asari. That's essentially what he is.
Yeah, and I mean that's why the model as a whole wouldn't have worked, because like the Geth all played the Asari incorrectly the same way. And so it would have been a bunch of strange Asari acting strange in the exact same way. Whereas one is just like whatever. Asari are raised in all sorts of different cultures. They're made up of all sorts of different species DNA. So like it's fine to explain quirky Asari individually, but if they're all the same kind of quirky, it's odd.
Yeah. What I've always been thinking is that Asari are probably, like, I know in the games we mostly see Asari that were raised by Asaris, but like they said, most of them are from relationships between an Asari and someone from a different species, so it's not completely out of the question that there would be, say, an Asari that was born and raised on Irun, an Asari that only ever had Anna siblings, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I think what's her name? PB and the doctor from Andromeda, both of them. PB I think was raised by humans, but the doctor was actually Arcturian. I think it was mentioned that her dad was. So
yeah, she did say she was raised on Omega. So
yeah, she was raised in Omega, and her dad I think was Turian. So
we said before maybe we know the Shadow Broker, but now I was thinking, do we meet any Geth 2.0 before? Because they are disguised as people, and maybe someone we meet already was a Geth 2.0 and we didn't realize. So yeah, that's another question.
That's possible.
Any awkwardly tall Quarians we've met in the last decade.
They're not all awkwardly tall, just BR0.
BR0 has a very specific body type.
He's a prime, I think is the tall one. Yeah.
I think he's a prime. Yeah.
And even Nathan is like, damn, son, you should be on a volleyball team.
Mm-hmm.